In that video, you are going to discover the history of Nokia in the phone industry. As Nokia is making its comeback in 2017, it is interesting to remember its long history in phones. Note that while Nokia may remind most of us of only mobile phones, the company in fact started out as a paper mill in 1865 in Finland. But in that video we are focusing on the history of Nokia in the phone industry. In 1963, Nokia made the first attempt to enter in the telecommunications market. Nokia made radio telephones for army and emergency responders. Later, in 1982, Nokia released the Mobira Senator. It is seen as one of the first true mobile phones and its weight was around 10 kilograms. Note that the Nokia's telecommunication branch originally existed as a merger between themselves and Salora Oy. Both companies released handsets under the name Mobira. It was not until 1989 that Nokia began manufacturing phones under its own name. Two years later, in 1984, Nokia acquired Salora and changed the name of its telecommunications unit to Nokia Mobira Oy. The year also marked the launch of Mobira Talkman, which was advertised as one of the first transportable phones. This means it could be used both in and out of car, also it was still around 5 kilograms. Really heavy. Three years later, in 1987, the company introduced its first compact phone called Mobira CityMine 900. It was also the world's first handheld mobile telephone. Despite weighing around 800 grams and carrying a price tag of around $5,456, it sold like hotcakes. The phone became iconic and was nicknamed the Gorba after the Soviet Union President Mikhail Gorbachev used it to make a call from Helsinki to Moscow during a press conference in October 1987. The new leadership brought change by dividing the company into 6 units: telecommunications, consumer electronics, cables and machinery, data, mobile phones, and basic industries, while divesting other units like flooring, paper, rubber, and ventilation systems. In 1989, Nokia Mobira Oy became Nokia Mobile Phones. In the start of the 90s, Nokia decided to focus entirely on mobile phones and network infrastructure, setting a course to exit its rubber, cable, and consumer electronics businesses. The Nokia 1011 was its first digital handheld phone for GSM, which in 1987 became the European standard for digital mobile technology. The phone weighed 475 grams, could store 99 contact details, and could display 2 lines of black and white text on its screen. Nokia's first phone had an extendable antenna and was introduced the humble text messaging. The Nokia 2110 was the first of the company mobile phones to carry the signature ringtone, which was later made famous by Dom Joly's Trigger Happy Television Antics. It was the first to feature the iconic Nokia Tune ringtone. While Nokia projected to sell 400,000 units, the series turned out to be a blockbuster with around 20 million handsets sold worldwide. Very impressive numbers. In 1996, the Nokia 9000 Communicator was launched. The all-in-one phone, which carried a price tag of $800, allowed users to send emails, fax, and browse the web, besides offering word processing and spreadsheet capabilities. Also, the phone managed to create a dedicated following. It was not commercially successful. A big failure for Nokia. In the same year, the company also launched the Nokia 8110 slider phone. Nicknamed Banana Phone, the device featured in the popular 1999 science fiction action film The Matrix. It was one of the original slider phones. The spectacular success of Nokia 6110 series. Indeed, the company sold nearly 41 million cellular phones in 1998, helped the company surpass Motorola and become the world top cellular phone maker in that year. It's worth mentioning that the Nokia 6110 was the first phone that came with the classic Snake game pre-installed. It helped Nokia to increase its market capitalization from nearly $21 billion to around $70 billion. Really impressive. For many adults and teenagers alike, the 3210, which came out in 1999, was their first mobile. Featuring phone calls, SMS, and seminal game Snake, the 3210 helped Nokia top the mobile market, where the company remained for 14 consecutive years. This device was a solid handset that came in 6 color variants and had a talk time of the impressive for the time 4 or 5 hours. A dream for the device of our epoch. The 3310 succeeded the incredibly popular 3210 and with its broad improved version of the Nokia highly addictive mobile phone games. Snake 2 in particular brought huge popularity to the phone. 2 years later, Nokia followed the phone with the 3410, an upgraded version that had a higher resolution display, dedicated call and hang-up buttons. It also had animated screensavers and different games. Also, Nokia was a world leader in the mobile phones market. The new decade brought along a new set of challenges for the company. The wireless and internet technologies were converging, and the third generation of wireless technology that promised enhanced multimedia capability was evolving. Responding to the changes, the Finnish company started churning out both sophisticated multimedia handsets as well as low-end devices. The year 21 saw the company launching the Nokia 7650. It was the first phone to feature a built-in camera. It was also the first phone to sport a full-color display. It was followed by the launch of its first 3G phone, the Nokia 66 in 22. The Nokia 6650 in 22. It was the world's first 3G phone. The same year, the company also launched the Nokia 3650, the first Symbian Series 60 device to appear in the US market. It was also Nokia's first phone to feature a video recorder. In 23, the company launched the Nokia 1100, a budget-friendly phone that sold around a whopping 250 million units, making it the best-selling phone as well as the best-selling consumer electronics product in the world. Incidentally, it was also the company's billionth phone sold later in 25 in Nigeria. What a success! The year 23 also saw the launch of the company's unorthodox-looking Engage device. Running on Symbian OS 6.1, the phone handheld gaming system was not much successful commercially, as only 3 million units were sold. The following year, the Nokia 7280 lipstick phone was launched. Part of the company's fashion phone line, the device was listed as one of the best products of the year by Fortune magazine. It's also featured in the Pussycat Dolls' Beep music video. Midway through the decade, the company launched its N series of phones, with the N70, the N90, and the N981 being the first members of the series. The flagship of the series, the N8, was launched later in 2010. The precursor to the 5080, the Nokia 5310 Express Music launched in 26. Sales reached 10 million for the handset, which had a GPRS, General Packet Radio Service, Internet uplink. Nokia has produced some fairly impressive smartphones over the years. The N985 in particular was powerful and cutting edge for the time. It provided a good quality camera, as well as many of the features we now take for granted in current iOS and Android-powered smartphones. A precursor. The 5880 Express Music was Nokia's response to the iPhone released the year before. It sold 13 million handsets and was Nokia's first touchscreen phone, but it did not manage to create die-hard following, as its touch experience was subpar comparing to the iPhone. To be honest, the iPhone was rarely superior to this Nokia phone. And the first Android devices too. The X6 became Nokia's flagship music-oriented phone back in 2009. The phone supported social network access and Nokia OV Maps. It also came in two different versions, one containing an 8 GB hard drive and another with a larger 16 GB memory. The entry-level Nokia Lumia 520 was announced at the 2013 Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. Built on Windows operating system rather than Symbian, the phone sold well on its release, but Nokia struggles ran too deeply. Good device, but hard to convince consumers. In 2014, Microsoft announced plans to buy Nokia mobile phone business in a $5.44 billion deal. The deal, which saw CEO Stefan Elop return to Microsoft, also includes the Finnish company patents and mapping services. Also, it excluded the Nokia Chennai factory in India, as well as the Masan factory in South Korea. In 2017, Nokia, via HMD Global, will launch 5 Android phones at least. The first, the Nokia 6, was launched early in January in China. It seems to be a big success for Nokia. New design philosophy embraces much loved Nokia phone hallmarks of quality, superior craftsmanship, and relentless focus on the consumer experience. We are really impatient to discover the other Android phones by Nokia this year. The Finnish company's unwillingness to embrace drastic change when it was required the most was probably the biggest reason that brought the mobile giant down. The company took way too long to embrace the smartphone revolution, and when it finally did it, made way too many errors in the strategy. In 2017, Nokia will try to regain some popularity with Android phones. The main question is, do you think Nokia can succeed with Android phones in the future? Tell me in comments. Don't hesitate to subscribe to the SRL channel to discover more content on Android and Android development.